Am I the asshole for altering a bridesmaid dress so it's not so revealing? My brother Joe, 55M, is about to marry Sue, 27F. A few months ago Sue asked both me, 60F, and my sister June, 53F, to be bridesmaids. I was touched, as I have only met Sue a few times, they live in another state. Besides myself and June, there are 4 other bridesmaids, all under 30. When Sue sent me the link for the bridesmaid dress, I was horrified. I'm sure the dress will look lovely on her young friends, but I would not want to be seen wearing it in public. It's super sexy plunging neckline, thigh-high slit, so clingy that it would reveal every lump on my rump. Please understand that I am not a prude. I am reasonably fit, and I enjoy dressing up, but I am 60 years old. I would not be comfortable showing that much skin at a formal event with all of our relatives present. I called Sue and nicely asked if there's a more modest version I could wear. She insisted this was the dress she wanted all her bridesmaids in. She wouldn't budge, and not wanting to cause family strife, I didn't push it. June doesn't like it either, but she's a marathon runner so she can pull it off. So I ordered the dress several sizes too large. I took it to a seamstress and had her take it and so it fits, but doesn't cling so tightly to my backside. Using some of the extra fabric she fixed the neckline so it doesn't reveal so much boobage. And she lowered the height of the thigh slit to a few inches above my knee, rather than nearly to my panties. The adjustments are very subtle and hardly noticeable. It actually looks great on me now. When Sue heard I'd had the dress altered, she flew into a rage. She texted me that she does not want a chopped-up dress in her wedding pictures. I sent her photos of me wearing it, but she's not having it. Joe called and told me that I've been disinvited from the wedding party, and they have replaced me with another friend. I thought they didn't want me at the wedding at all, so I cancelled my hotel reservation. I hadn't bought my plane ticket yet. Clearly I've upset Sue, and I don't want there to be conflict on her big day. Plus, I'm afraid there would be awkward questions about why my sister is a bridesmaid and I am not. It seems to me it would be less awkward for them to respond to any questions about me with vague, "She was unable to make the trip," answers. I'm also not keen on spending more money on this event where I don't really feel welcome. I've already dropped several hundred on the dress, alterations, and matching shoes. I let Joe know I still am very happy for him and will of course send them a generous wedding gift. But he said they did want me there, and now he's not speaking to me at all, and Sue is telling June that I ruined her wedding. Am I the asshole for altering the dress so I wouldn't feel naked? And once that blew up, for not wanting to go to the wedding? Not the asshole. Sue's acting like you ruined your dress completely, even though you paid a professional. Also, the age gap between the happy couple is a little odd. She shouldn't be surprised that a different generation wants to dress slightly differently. Honestly, your mistake was letting anyone know you did it. Not the asshole. The whole bride me thing makes me want to vomit. Esh. I knew we were in for a ride with the 55-year-old groom and 27-year-old bride, and this did not disappoint. I feel like these dresses either skew super fancy or super trashy, and I have a theory on which end of the spectrum they fall. Regardless, the bride is acting a little over-controlling here and Joe is enabling the vengeful crazy. Op asked for reasonable accommodation and they went nuclear. Op is being an asshole to themselves by still sending a generous wedding gift, after being so blatantly discarded. Technically alternating the dress unilaterally was suspect, but given the circumstances and the type of people she's dealing with I give a pass on that since it was done tastefully within the spirit of the original. The real question here. Why the fuck is a 55-year-old man marrying a 27 years old? And why is Op okay with it? I would be disowning my brothers if either of them pulled that shit. After of course giving them a very large piece of my mind and probably a kick to the backside. Esh. Joe, 55M. Sue, 27F. Ew. She insisted this was the dress she wanted all her bridesmaids in. She wouldn't budge, and not wanting to cause family strife, I didn't push it. Your option here is, drop out. Either be a bridesmaid and wear what the bridesmaids wear, or don't. The adjustments are very subtle and hardly noticeable. Ultimately, not your call. Info op, can you please link the original dress? Am I the asshole for making my son cry? I, 47M, have a son, 14M, from a previous marriage to my late wife. She passed 2 years ago and for my son the wound is still very fresh. My son and her were very close as they look exactly alike and had a lot of the same interest in reading, history, and art. Their favorite place in the world is the British Museum in London. Their passion project has been redrawing pieces from the museum for the last 2 years before. For the last 4 years, for my wife's birthday in June and my son's birthday in December, we go to England for a week so they can spend time in the museum. However, since she died, my son and I have continued going for his birthday. The problem is with my new wife, 39F. She's only been with us on this annual trip once last year and she complained the whole time. Now however, we recently found out we are expecting a child together in May. She raised it to my attention that the money I've used for the trip could be better used to be saved for the baby and we could instead do something else for my son's birthday. I thought about it and I agreed. I was worried how he'd take it as this is the only thing he wants for his birthday. He doesn't ask for gifts or cake, or a party. All he cares about is this goddamn museum. We broke the news to my son yesterday and he flipped out. He was so upset, and when my wife tried to tell him why we were saving the money and where the money was going to, he said he didn't give a damn and we got into an argument about it. He said he was upset because if he didn't go this year he'd miss the new exhibit he'd been wanting to see, and he accused my wife of doing this on purpose because she already doesn't like me, he said. I admit I yelled at him and he started crying, and for the last 24 hours, he hasn't spoken to me. Am I the asshole? Your shiny new wife chose to act worse than a whiny toddler and ruined a trip that we meant for a child, on their birthday, as a memory for his mother. You allowed this woman to make your son feel terrible in his favorite place in the world, on his birthday. You allowed this woman to take the one thing your child has ever wanted, to shift it over to something that has nothing to do with your son, for his birthday. You yelled at your son for reacting badly to being shoved aside for your new family. You allow your new wife to mistreat your son, not even bothering to raise any question at, she hates me, at all. Of course, you are the asshole. You are the asshole in a huge way. By calling it a goddamn museum, you're minimizing the importance of this tradition. You're denying your son a connection he has with his late mother, all in the name of saving money for the new baby. Your son feels like you're abandoning him for this new family. I don't blame him. You seem like a terrible father. It seems like you don't care that your kid lost his mother. Was he okay with you moving on with another woman? Lots of men with kids do, because they can't handle the responsibility of raising kids alone, and it's almost never okay with the kids. Think about what you're doing here. It won't be long before your son leaves you behind and goes no contact. Good thing you have this new backup family, right? So in 2 years, you moved one, got to know her so well, got married? Was there an affair before your wife died? Were you happy that she died? Do you wish that your son wasn't around? Because you know the importance of this trip. You dragged along a woman who seems to hate your son, and is making you hateful towards him too. Do you resent the fact that your son is still alive, still sad, and still needs your love and care? When the new baby comes, are you going to neglect your son because your witchy new wife feels you should only be a father to her child? You sound awful. Your new wife is awful. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Your wife died 2 years ago. 1 year ago, you brought your new wife on this trip. So you were remarried within a year of your son's mother's death? Not just dating, but actually planned and had a wedding? And brought this new wife on his first trip back to the museum since his mother died? And now he can't go because you're having a baby. Hope you like the new kid a whole lot because you won't see much of your first one in the future. All he cares about is this goddamn museum. Of course he does. That's the last connection he has to his mother. You are the asshole. I get wanting to have money for the baby, but you could do both if you planned and saved money. Yes, you are the asshole. Have you thought your son is now looking at this as a new tradition so that the two of you can be closer? Instead, you've essentially told him your new wife and baby is more important than him, and quite frankly it's a red flag location flag. Your new wife doesn't have any empathy for him. You better hope this new marriage lasts because in years to come I doubt your son will have much to do with you. Am I the asshole for canceling Thanksgiving? I'm Canadian. I celebrated this shit last month, but my American family demanded I host their Thanksgiving this year. Not anymore, I'm canceling. Okay, some background. I'm 22M and I live in California with my high school sweetheart 22F. I was born in Canada but I've lived here most of my life. We flew home and had Thanksgiving with my grandparents last month. That's not really relevant to the story, I'm just pissed at the whole situation. Historically, my family doesn't like my girlfriend, they think she's harsh and mean and opinionated. Those are the things I love about her, but regardless, we were supposed to host this year. I wasn't very excited and she wasn't either, but as we've gotten older and more serious, she started to crave my family's validation, so she wanted to try. I'm going to call her Ruby for this. It started when my mom asked if Ruby was going to be at dinner. I said obviously, where else would she go? Apparently my mom had told everyone that Ruby was going to be with her family for Thanksgiving and they wouldn't have to worry about her. She's not, and that was never the plan. My mom demanded I call her. We argued for over an hour. I know Ruby overheard and she's since told me that she was scared this would happen. Basically 6 years of grievances coming to a head, and I decided I didn't want to deal with it, so I cancelled Thanksgiving and told my mom to find someone else to host and we would not be appearing. I won't let Ruby be upset if I has any power over it. My mom called me selfish and said Ruby had brainwashed me, so I told her to go fuck herself. Am I the asshole? Edit for context. We were supposed to host because Ruby inherited a nice house from her dad, the only good thing he's ever done for her, and my parents want me to be more adult. My parents don't like Ruby because of her attitude, they think she's bad for me and always have. I think they didn't want me to start dating so young. Ruby hates them because of an incident where they called her an attention-seeking whore. She's never been trustful of adults because of her home life, and this made her never want to trust my parents at all. She's still bitter but trying to work on it. She has mental health issues and I'm really important to her, so she sees it as them trying to ruin us. They just see her as the wrong girl for me. I hope that's enough information. Info. My family doesn't like my girlfriend, they think she's harsh and mean and opinionated. Those are the things I love about her. You love that she's _mean_? You're not the asshole. It takes a special level of royal-ness to demand someone host a dinner while simultaneously expecting him to banish his partner from her own home during the event. Your family is pretty clueless and I can see the light from their aura from the East Coast. As we've gotten older, says a 22-year-old. Bless your heart. Let's see if I have this right. Your girlfriend treats your family like shit and has now become aware that her actions are alienating your family, so she's demanding an apology dinner disguised as Thanksgiving and you are enabling her behavior. Meanwhile, your family assumed your girlfriend wouldn't attend Thanksgiving and are now demanding that you boot her from your own home so you can celebrate the Thanksgiving they want. Did I get all that? If so, info. Like, what kind of mean and closed off are we talking about? Like, is she aggressively sarcastic, mean, flat to any attempts to be nice? Does she rebuke them when they talk to her, etc.? Is she just not as friendly as they'd like? You love that your girlfriend is harsh and mean? I am going to assume some stuff here since you didn't deny her being harsh and mean and validated them instead. So your parents do not like your girlfriend because she has been known to being mean and harsh to, I assume, them. Are you making excuses for your girlfriend as to why she's being a dick? And yes, saying that that's just how she is or that's her personality is just an excuse to be a dick. On the other side, I don't know why your parents assumed your girlfriend would be gone if you lived together. To basically try and get you to tell her not to attend in her own home is absurd. Am I the asshole for telling coworker they hurt my feelings calling me wrong name constantly? My name is Veronica. I get called Victoria constantly to the point I know people mean me when they say, "Hey Victoria." People will misread my name even at the doctor office etc. I feel like this is why everyone typically calls me V or a shortened version of my name. I smile and correct people normally when they call me Victoria. It's happening so often lately that it's starting to really get to me. 4 times today alone I was called Victoria. Number of times my actual full name was used? Maybe 1-2 times. One of the biggest culprits is a company worker of 8 months I am friendly with. The second time today alone he called me Victoria. I shook my head and told him, "It really hurts my feelings that you can't remember my name or even to just call me Ronnie or V. Even the employees who've been here 2-3 weeks call me Miss V or Ronnie." It just got to me, to the point I was genuinely hurt, so I went into the break room to make myself a mug of tea and compose myself. It makes me feel as if I'm so irrelevant my name doesn't matter. When I got back to my desk, our other coworker was upset. They told me, "I can't believe you did that, he just buried his father." She pointed out that literally no one in the office calls her by her real name true but it's cute derivatives of her actual name like Hani Banani. As someone who's lost a parent I definitely understand mourning, however it's been a month since the funeral. The guy the first got upset with was giving me the stink eye the rest of the day. I was blunt and impatient when I spoke to him, but I didn't raise my voice at all. When I told my husband he told me I was wrong and should let it go, since half the time I'm called my pen name anyway. I am never actually called by my pen name FTR and never IRL. Just online. Am I the asshole because he just lost his dad and use a pen name online? Not the asshole. He's chosen to not bother to learn your name. His parent dying is totally irrelevant. Ooh, I've got a good solution for you V. People do that with my name too. The solution is simple, don't call them by their name. If he is called Harry, call him John or Hamish. Call him any other name, but his, or hers. When people push back, say, "Oh I'm sorry, I didn't realize names matter?" As you consistently don't call me by name? I trained someone this way. It took 3 hours. In ta BTW. Not the asshole. I think most people prefer to be called their actual name. As someone who is mourning the loss of her father more than a year later, 1 month is a second in the span of grief. But when is it going to be a good time to tell him? 2 months after? 6? A year? And listen to him calling you Victoria all this time? You did not mean to hurt him. You could always tell him you're sorry you were short-tempered. Not the asshole. It's just a basic courtesy to learn a colleague's name. Not the asshole. Grieving doesn't excuse shitty behavior, it may explain it. Going forward, however, I'd advise you to not enable the others as much. Just don't react when someone says Victoria. It's not your name and you do not have to answer just because they are ignorant. When they get annoyed, you just tell them, "Oh, I didn't know you were talking to me since you didn't bother to use my name." Stop being nice to people who don't treat you nicely. Not the asshole. After 8 months he should know your name. All you did was tell him it bothers you won't use your actual name. As for the coworker's comment, why does it matter that his dad just passed away?